Hello, on this episode of the Inventive Marketing Club, we're going to be looking at analysing your YouTube statistics. So hopefully helping you unlock the power of your data and make informed decisions to fuel your channel's success. So let's jump right in. So first of all, let's look at some YouTube stats. So depending on how you look at it, YouTube is the world's third largest search engine. Now, I've got a star next to that. If you go and look at the source on tubix.com, it actually argues, because it's been a myth that YouTube is the second search engine on the planet. It argues that actually Google Images is the second. Anyway, it's really arbitrary. It's just saying that YouTube is actually, after Google itself, one of the key places where people actually spend time searching, which is really important to know. And that's why I guess I'm giving you that stat, because it just shows how important it is to be on YouTube, even with these other video platforms that are available. It's also good to know that YouTube has 2 billion monthly active users. If we look at the graph that's displayed on screen, we can see that Facebook has almost 3 billion, certainly in the graph, it's around almost 3 billion. This graph is slightly old. I think this data is from 2020, so it's a little bit old. It's very difficult to find up-to-date data, but it's still broadly in this ballpark. So Facebook's got about 3 billion, YouTube just under that with about 2 billion, and then WhatsApp under that. And you can see the graphic goes down after that into some I don't even recognize. But what we're trying to say here is, in terms of people using it, YouTube is second only to Facebook. 70% of the views on YouTube are from a mobile device. So that's important to know in terms of making sure that the people aren't necessarily watching on a big screen. They're going to be watching on a small screen. So maybe you want to make sure that if there's any text on there, that it's going to be clear for them. And this is an interesting stat, and you can get all of these stats that I've got here on the source that's linked under the 2 stars. That's backlinko.com/YouTube-users. 85% of channels have fewer than 1,000 subscribers. Sadly, ours does. We haven't really started building it up yet. We have, despite publishing lots of video, we actually haven't been putting a lot of it public until more recently. So it's one of our challenges, is to really push the number of subscribers. But I'll be showing you that more later in a walkthrough. Little quote here from Rand Fishkin from Moz, and he says that YouTube has more search volume than Bing or Yahoo, and more than twice Amazon's, and 3 times Facebook's. So in terms of actually places people go to search, YouTube has a lot of volume there. It may not have the active monthly users that Facebook does, although it's pretty close, but in terms of search, that's where people go. There may be some change to that over time. I know a lot of other people, maybe younger people, are using TikTok, for example, to actually go and search directly on there. But with YouTube and YouTube Shorts, that's something where I think they're going to bring back that traffic to them. Also with YouTube, you get more coverage on Google. So rather than just having a single static text organic results, if you have videos through YouTube, then they appear on Google. You've got much more variety of the coverage of how they appear. So in the example I've got here, how to fix a washing machine, it's got related videos and actually key moments that might be relevant to what I'm searching for. Also, if there is, you can see another video type where it is listed right at the top. So it's one key video that will answer that particular question, or sometimes you have them in a 3-pack. So you've got, if there are videos, they usually are going to come higher than standard organic results. So let's have a look, just a quick look at a couple of examples of the impact of a well-optimized video or channel. So first, let's have a look at this. I'm not going to name this company. Not because they've got some lovely videos, actually, really, really good videos, but it's just the way they are putting them onto YouTube isn't allowing them to maximize the number of subscribers they've got. And they've got 270 subscribers, which is great, and a lot of watch time. And the videos they've got really good quality, nice and short, nice and tight, but they dump them all in at once. So we can see the last dump here around Feb 2022, it's got 9+, it's got a little icon that says 9+ in it. That was actually 40 videos. So if you're in the interface and you hover over that, you can see that actually there were 40 videos dumped at one time. And they did get a bout of subscribers, new subscribers over that period of time, which is great. But if they had put those if they'd added those YouTube videos consistently over a period of time, maybe once a week, they would have seen, rather than such a big, large spike, is a nice, gentle increase that would have probably brought them more subscribers over time, because it benefits or it favors YouTube's algorithm by releasing them on a consistent basis that way. So they've kind of dropped a load, got a big spike, and then nothing more. Conversely, another looking at it a different way, this is a company where they've actually started dropping videos on a regular basis, and that regular publishing really does build and ramp subscribers over a period of time. Now, both of these actually are both of the examples are taken over the lifetime of that particular account, and this one actually is an old. It's a very good example, which is why I'm using it, but I'm unable to get access to it for our club. But it's a really good example to show how this works, and it's actually over a shorter period than the other one. But you can see that the videos have become actually more frequent and more regular, and that actually built the subscribers more than when they were less frequent and you had more dropping at a time. And it really built that over time. And the reason is it works in YouTube's favor on the algorithm side, that actually you're dropping content regularly, and if people respond well to it, they watch it, then that's going to favor you as well. So I would say a key thing here to understand is that regularly publishing content is better than just creating all in the background and then just dumping it on YouTube at once. Something else, and we'll look at this in a little bit more detail of how you might do this, but I'm just going to give you an example of how we did improve what's called audience retention of a YouTube video for a channel. So for Selmac here, Claire and I were going through this, going through the videos, looking at how we can improve them, what the watch time was, where people dropped out. And audience retention really helps you understand where people drop out in a video. So in the first one that's labeled before, we could see that after, was it 24 seconds, we only had 60% retention of people watching the video. So you can't quite see it because the numbers covering it, but the graph drops pretty quickly in those 24 seconds. And actually, if we were to watch that video, we can see that at the beginning, there was a slow title slide that didn't say much really. I think the title slide was on for something like 7 seconds or so. And so we can see that actually that people would watch the video and be almost, I can imagine, drumming their fingers, waiting for that title slide to disappear before they could actually get into the meat of understanding about the press break. So what we did after that is we thought, well, let's have an experiment. Why don't we just trim off that title slide? If people are dropping during that title slide time, let's just cut it out. And rather than uploading, making an edit and uploading that in YouTube again, we can actually make that edit directly in YouTube. Now, I'm not going to go into that today. That's going to be probably a topic of another club session. But we're able to go into YouTube and just trim off that first bit. So it's not actually changing the original file, it's just trimming it in YouTube. And that did make a bit of a difference. So we checked it the next month later, and we were able to see that after 17 seconds, that we actually kept more audience than we did before. So actually more people watching it for longer. And you can see that the slope, we actually kept more of those people for the full length of the video. So sometimes just really making sure you get into the action pretty quickly and not have any static logo slides or title slides can get more people into the action. It's a bit like having a fast website. If you have a slow website and people are drumming their fingers and waiting for it to load, then they're going to bounce back. Very similar with a YouTube video. Okay, so now we're going to have a quick walkthrough and just look at the stats dashboard within YouTube. Okay, so this is our stats dashboard, and we're going to come straight onto the Creator Studio. And from here, we just need to click on the link Analytics on the left-hand side. And it just gives us a quick heads up over a default time period of the last 28 days, sorry. It's going to show us how many views we had, whether we had a subscriber. Sadly, someone unsubscribed, damn them. But we can also expand that range. So we can actually look to expand it out to 90 days or a whole year, or look at the lifetime of the entire account. So that's really useful to, if you're having a sort of broad brush overview of your stats. I generally work with a lifetime or the 365. If it's on a monthly basis, then we probably just want to look on the last 28 days or 90 days. So we can look at the number of views. So that's the total number of views we've had, what that equates to in watch time. So that's going to be how many seconds people have watched of each of the videos. So it's not totting up the total amount of time for each video, but how much time they have actually watched, and then totting that up into hours or days. And then the number of subscribers you've had. So what YouTube will do is it will tot up the number of additions you've had, and then subtractions, and then it'll negate them off each other. So you're looking at whether you've had a total number of hopefully positive subscribers. Now, I did say at the beginning, one of the things we haven't been doing in our YouTube channel is really pushing it. We've got a lot of videos on here, but the majority of the videos actually come from our club videos. And most of those club videos have remained locked away for quite some time. It's actually only more recently we've been starting to unlock them, and eventually all our videos will be free to some extent, and free from the moment we put them live. And I think that has had an effect in terms of how our channel has grown, in terms of that while we have published various videos, we haven't published them the moment we've uploaded them. I think that has slowed down, or not really accelerated, the number of people actually subscribing. So it's not worked in our favor. But when we do start publishing more regularly and live and for the first time, we, well, I hope to see an increase in that. If I scroll down here, we can have a look at over whatever period we're looking at. Let's change that, look over the last 365 days. And we can see the top content for this particular period. So we can see our Google Analytics walkthrough did quite well. And I'd imagine that's because people were changing over from Universal Analytics back in July when it ended, or stopped working on Google servers, and they were changing over to get ready for that period. So that's probably why that did better, even though that's actually quite, yeah, that's quite an old video, but we've published it quite recently. And I think that goes back to impacting why our channel hasn't grown. So that's quite useful. What else do we want to look at here? So I think that's everything there. We've also got content. So we click on this. So this is quite interesting. You can see how people found our videos. I quite like this. You can see whether we're coming up in suggested videos, search. We can look at external links. So I know that Claire posts a lot of our videos to YouTube. So it does make sense that almost 50% of our external traffic comes through from LinkedIn. So that makes sense. And that's something we'd like to increase. What I'd actually like to increase is YouTube here. I want more people to find us through YouTube. So here's a certain percentage in YouTube search, and actually what people are searching for. So Cal Newport interview, I think that's related to the email book of his that we were talking about with Alex. SEO audit, GA4. And you can actually look at these and see, a bit like Google Search Console for your website, what people are searching for, what you're coming up for, what you've got a chance of coming up for. Maybe you could create some more content around that, because there's actually a potential for getting found. But let's go back to overall. As you've got browse features, that's people actually just clicking through channels, suggested videos, which is really where you want to be. And if you're doing them regularly and you've got great content, that's what can really be accelerated, are those suggested videos that people see on the right-hand side. What I'm going to look at now, because if I click through to our audience, we just don't have enough videos for it to generate some interesting data here. I'm going to click through to one of our clients just to have a look at here. So they've got a bit more data on their channel, so it's worth looking at. So I clicked on the audience tab here. We can look at when people are actually viewing the videos. So this might give us some interesting impact if we were going to use it for understanding, are they going to be relaxed? Are they fitting this into their workday? How we can use it from an advertising perspective. Do we want to, if we're advertising videos, using Google Ads, do we want to push those on a weekend in this case, or in the evenings when typically people are looking at them? And it does seem to be that people are looking at the videos in this case mainly in the evening, so less during the day. And you can actually see on the Wednesday it really pushes to the evening quite a lot there. Let's see if there's anything else interesting. So we've got gender, if that's interesting to you. So overwhelmingly male here, but that obviously will vary by the channel, and what age they are. So again, you can use this for just understanding who is interacting with you, who's watching your videos. That might well feed back into your marketing or your advertising. So there's lots of useful information there. Something I want to look at quite often, and it goes back to understanding audience dropout, is actually if we want to look at particular videos. So let me go back here, back to our tab, and I go back to overview. I want to ideally optimize the videos so that we don't get so many people dropping out, so we get to the action quickly. So to do that, you find the video you want to work on, and I tend to do it like this. I'll put a date listing in or a date range in to find the top videos, and then we can just focus on the ones that people already like and that are doing well already. So if I click on this, it gives me some detail about this particular video. So it's had 60 views, whether that's more than normal. You can actually see an average here in the gray for how it performs. Each video performs over the first 30 days. So we can see that this is doing much better than our other videos, because obviously over the first 30 days, because it was interesting for people. What the watch time is, so again, this is doing better as well. And this is the bit I'm interested in, audience retention. Now, because this is such a long video, it's taking a little while to load. So I actually got it loaded in another tab here for us to scroll through to. And what this allows us to do is we can see this graph here of basically the amount of people who are watching it and at what point. So we can see you've got 100% right at the top. If I can get there, it's gonna be basically 100% of people actually start watching the video, and then they drop off pretty quickly. So at what point here? About 33%. So at 1 minute and 41 into the video, we've had 70% of people drop off. Now, that's probably because of the way we structure these videos, and certainly in the old days, I guess, like this one's a bit older, is they tend to be longer and we would take some more time to get into it. So it's like a slower introduction. We've changed that since, and our videos are hopefully a little bit shorter. The intros are shorter, a bit tighter. And we're looking at ways that maybe we can put some key headline facts at the beginning. But this just requires more thought, more editing, a bit more work that we haven't really had time to do that yet. But this audience retention graph will help identify where people are dropping out, at what point, whether it's a certain sort of content that they're not interested in, that we can cut out and improve, and we can compare these with different videos over a period of time. So we can see it drops out to, I'd say, yeah, about 30%, and then it starts to level off. It does, a few people drop out, but a good, there's still a good percentage actually keep watching all the way through. And actually, you can see in grey here, this is typical audience retention, and we're doing a lot better than that. So in terms of holding people's attention, it does better. What we can also do is click on these different sections to see how the video, what is actually showing at that point in time. Because this video is so long, it's actually difficult to see in this graph. If we were to look at maybe a typical video of 1 to 2 minutes, it's a lot easier to skip around in these sections and see very specific points in video. But in here, I can just about see it. If we go to the point where most people drop off, I think it's when we just start talking about what is Google Analytics for. So it really, I think, with this particular video, I wanted an introduction first into Google Analytics 4, then going into how to set it up, and then what all the bits do. I think in hindsight, the way we'd set this up is actually have one video on the stats, a walkthrough of Google Analytics 4, and another video setting up how it's going to work. So you can actually click through various segments here and see what was showing on the screen when people were actually viewing it. You see a bit of an uptick here. So maybe people are actually scanning, find some data they want to see. Actually, this is common for me, because I think at this point, we start getting into the actual stats data. So it might be people are skipping through to that. But this is super useful if you want to optimize a video and make sure that more people are seeing it and more people are watching it all the way through, is to use this audience retention to see what people find interesting and where they drop out. I think that's probably it for now. Be nice to tackle on some other episodes looking at how to optimize YouTube videos from a search point of view, and also looking at some of the channels, some channels that do well, some channels that maybe don't do so well, and look at what the commonalities are in terms of how they improve their performance, how they interact with their audience, and so on. So I think that's what we'll tackle in a future video. So to finish off, I'll just give you some tips to round up. One of the things I mentioned that's really important if you want to improve your YouTube channel audience retention and certainly build your subscribers is to publish consistently. So whatever works for you, whether that's monthly, weekly, daily, every couple of days, whatever works for you, whatever you can build into your schedule. Maybe you group a load of videos together, produce them, and then you can actually put a scheduled date on each of those to come out every couple of days, or you can do something live. Just look at doing it consistently. Try and get to the action within the first 5 seconds. So if you want to keep people engaged and maintain the audience retention, so more people are watching it all the way through, then try to get to the point quickly. Remove the boring bits as well. That always helps. Watch other videos your audience might like. This is competition. A bit like with search optimization, you go and look at the competitor websites. You want to do with the same with other videos your audience might be looking at. Have a look. Can you do better than them? Look at where people drop out. This goes back to the get to the action in the first 5 seconds. Look at your retention stats to see where people drop out and whether you can improve your future videos, or maybe you can edit the videos that are already up there. Also include a call to action. That could be in the video itself, which I highly recommend if it's relevant. If not, put one into the description. If nothing else, make sure you link to your website in the description, as well as embedding that particular video in your website. It helps tie the two together. Hopefully, that's going to be useful for you. Thank you for watching this episode of the Inventive Marketing Club. You can learn more, find great episodes, or you can join us at ratherinventive.com/club. That's ratherinventive.com/club. Bye.